In our last video, we thought we had a huge challenge ahead of us, to build perfectly straight frames so we could install the windows on our deck saloon.
Ta-da!
The truth is, building the frames was actually straightforward, we had no problem, was really easy in a way. The problem came when we found out a huge thing that the boatyard hidden from us. And the worst thing is, they knew they were hiding that from us.
We are a family of 3 building our own aluminum sailboat after the boatyard that was building it went bankrupt.
We did it, finally! That's really scary, but it's a win.
Welcome to Odd Life Crafting. Subscribe and join us on this crazy adventure.
Yeah, in the past months I've been trying really hard not to say bad things about the boatyard that went bankrupt and that build our boat in such a poor way, like so many bad decisions, so many bad mistakes. But unfortunately I need to say something. I'm just like, I cannot hold. It's just, they've been just, I'm just so mad right now. We just run into a really big problem that we don't really know how to solve. We will solve it, don't take me wrong. This boat will go to the water, and it will go to the water even before you can imagine. There is a date actually for this boat to be in the water already. You don't know that, we're going to talk about that later, but I'm so mad that I don't want to talk about that right now. I just want to fix this huge mistake they did. So I remember perfectly the day that they put this plate in place. When they put this plate in place, there was a gap right here of 20 millimeters missing. That's almost 1 inch missing. If we measure from here to there, it was literally 20 millimeters shorter than the design. And I had no idea. I'm like, what the freak happened? They don't know what happened. They both shrink, or what did they do wrong for that plate to be so far off? Next day I arrived in the boatyard and there was no gap. And I thought to myself, yes, they fixed the problem. The reality is, I strongly believe that they didn't think they would ever finish the boat. They're just making progress for us to keep paying. And I had no idea, they didn't explain me how they fixed the problem. And now that, of course, if you hide a problem, it shows up later again and again and again. And now that we need to straight this bulkhead, so this bulkhead is really bent. I don't know if you can see here, but it's touching this bar, is touching here. And when it gets to here, that's how far we are. At first, we thought that they welded the bulkhead on the top of the roof on the wrong position, that they welded the bulkhead on the roof too much forward. And that was our theory from day one. And now that we're investigating because we need this hose to be flat, because we need to weld these frames into the hole, and if that is not flat, it means we have a huge gap in one side and we have no gap on the other side, and it doesn't work. The window is not going to work. We're going to have a flush deck hatch that's going to look so weird if we do that. And then I realized that if you see from here, this is not vertical actually. From here up, it's actually going out and then goes in. And the reason for that is because the way they fixed the gap that they had here was by clamping this bulkhead towards that plate. So they didn't move this plate at all. They hide the gap. They just got the bulkhead and push against that and close the gap. But when they did that, the bulkhead was not straight anymore. The bulkhead just did that. And that's freaking stupid. If you want to do that, at least you change the position of the top also, so you do like this, and that's at least straight to the top, and then the window can fit in place properly. Now the window cannot fit in place because the bulkhead is literally crooked so much. And it's just, we don't even know what to do, because like here, we cannot move, like all these positions on the bottom, there is no way we can move all the bottom because it's fully welded to the seat of the cockpit, and there is no way we can move that anymore. So now, yeah, it's just stupid. I mean, why would you push a bulkhead 20 millimeters off in the center of the bulkhead? It doesn't make freaking any sense. It's just stupid. It's a stupid decision. You just literally destroy the bulkhead. And if you see from this angle, the bulkhead goes like this also. So this bulkhead, if you see my boat in the future, is not straight. We're gonna make it look okay, and we're gonna make it strong and safe, but it will never be as it was designed to be. And that's because of poor decisions of the boatyard that built up to this point, because there is nothing we can do now. So what we need to do now, in order to be able to install the frame for the hatch, because this side is pretty much flat. This is flat, this is really close from flat, this is really curved this way, and this point should come 20 millimeters back. But how do I bring that 20 millimeters back if I have no space for this plate? Because it's already too bent, there is no space, there is more plate than space. So our theory now is that potentially we need to cut this off again to bring this part of the bulkhead in, to cut part of this part of the bulkhead, and then weld them together again on the right position, bringing it back. The problem is, if we cut that, what will happen? If we cut that, the roof could come down, or the side could come in. We don't know. We are just trying to figure out before we do a bigger mistake, because freaking. So if we finish that it's easier because there is just this much of bulkhead. How do we deal with that one? That we have this window frame that's in place and it's flat right now. I don't know. I just want to share with you that I'm really pissed off. I'm really mad. I'm not giving up. The boat will be built. Don't take me wrong. We will finish this. It's my life mission right now. We will finish, and there is no way. In reality is, we're going to talk about that later, but we have 5 months. If this boat doesn't float in 5 months, that means we will go bankrupt. And the reason for that is because of the freaking boatyard that built the hull of our boat. And I'm sorry, I'm mad. Yes, I'm mad. And I will go back to be happy in the next episode. But right now, it's just not the time for me to be happy. It's just the time for me to fix a freaking thing that this stupid guy that owned the boatyard did to me. Literally. People say, stop complaining, stop complaining. It's because it was not with you. If you comment that I should stop complaining, it's because you didn't lose at least 50,000 euros. That's just like the direct lose. There's much more than that. We lost time, that means money, we lost videos, we lost audience, we lost a lot of things because of the freaking owner of the yard that scammed us. That's all. It's freaking mad. Let's go back to work. So on this side, I clamped it here and on the top, and then Peter put a shim in the middle to make sure that this belly goes in. Now we're gonna try to do the same thing on this piece. He just welded a straight edge, and now he's gonna put a shim in between to make sure that this belly that is like this comes straight. If that happens, we are really close to having a flat window. This one is fully welded in place. Now we are wondering what happens when we take this and this out. I do believe it's possible that doesn't change much. The only place this is touching right now is the bottom and this part, and then welded to there. I'm not sure. It could change everything and it could change almost nothing. I do believe this is really reinforced now, but I think we're going to take that out to try. We're just waiting for this to cool down a little bit. So Peter took the clamp out, and so far it didn't move anything, so that means our reinforcement, it did work, for this one at least. Now this is a completely different story. This is going to be a lot harder than this one. We did this one first to learn with the easier one, so we can work on the other one, but now, to be honest, the situation is completely different, that I don't know if what we learned from this one actually works for that one. The goal now is similar to that one. We need to bring this edge in like 13 millimeters, like I would say ½ inch inside, and if we manage to do that, then this frame can sit flush with the bulkhead, and then I think we're on the way to success. I don't think it moved in. Didn't move at all. So that means this one is done. If when we fix this one, it doesn't change that one, because it could happen. I'm so happy to report that the first side of the bulkhead is fixed. Before you say I was dramatizing, I was not at all. I literally didn't believe we could pull this one off. This was so bent and so curved and twisted in all different angles. It took a lot of thinking in order to put this back straight. I mean, straight. We managed to get it straight from here up, and that really outside is what matters. Of course, when we build the wall here, it's going to be a little bit more complicated, because the wall is not going to be straight from the ceiling to this floor. So we need to make the wall a little bit thicker in order to fix this, thickness problem. But this, it's a smaller problem that we can fix. Outside the wall, of course, is not 100% vertical. It's a little bit back now. It is what it is. At least it's straight and it's not like a wall that's like an S-shaped wall. That's really good. So when we started, this side was much worse than this side, so we started fixing this one. But when we were almost finished with this one, I look back, and this bulkhead that was much better before, it was like this. The center of the bulkhead was like this much sticking out. Like literally, this was here, that was there, and this part was like this much out. And I'm like, oh no. All the thoughts started coming to your mind, like, oh, so we fix this one, we extend the roof, so when we make these straight, somewhere the deformation needs to go, so it went up, and when that happened, it went down on this side, and we deformed the roof. That was the first thought, and I'm like, we're in big trouble. And more than that, it was deformed, and it was really stiff. It could not move properly. It was like really hard to move. And I'm like, that's a big problem, because now we have a lot of tension and it's curved, and how do we bend that back without bending everything else? So that one was also really bent. That was like literally 20 minutes before the end of the day on a Friday, and that's not a good way of ending a week. So we're like, no, let's try really quick so we can go to bed rested that it's fine. So we got all the structure that was here that we took out. So we put the strong pipes in the back and we clamped it. And when we did that, it came back so smooth. My theory is that we started by this one and not by that one. And once we did that, the tension always comes from the side. We already straight up a little bit, and then when we got to here, it was really loose. It was not tight anymore. It was just like you could move. And right now, actually, you can move, see? It's not that stiff, because that's straightening up that part, and it's making this more, I don't know, I guess like a little bit higher the roof, but the way it should be, because this one right now is straight, this should be straight, that should be straight. And that means right now the last frame that needs to sit here, it's touching all four corners, and that's amazing news, because that means we just need to clamp a little bit in the centers to bring it back together, and we can weld, and then we can reinforce. And if it acts just like that one, this will be fixed. So now, instead of bothering you with a lot of explanations, I'm just gonna run a clip of us next week trying to do this job, and by the end of the clip, you know if we have actually a fixed bulkhead or not. If we did that, then we can jump to the door, and if we do the framing of the door, then the last thing we need to do here is to literally build the door and the opening mechanism, the closing mechanism, and then we have the entire roof of the boat done, and then we can literally install glazing, hatches, insulation, and we have a roof done. That's like literally from the deck up, the boat's ready, I can say. So as you can tell, the second part of the bulkhead actually worked. I mean, you see there is one stringer that's missing, and the thing is, we actually fixed too much the bulkhead. We over fixed it, and that means this edge was too straight, and it was crooking this window. So we needed to take that stringer out, because we need to stick out a little bit, just like the other one sticks. And then in this way, this is flat. So in order to do that now, we created a jig with a spacer on the top and a gap in the middle, and now it's in position. And in order to hold this shape, Peter is going to weld the frame for the door. We're going to now mark the door cut the door, tack weld the frame, and then we can add this stringer back and fully weld the door frame. And this way we can take this clamp and hopefully it stays in place. So now that the door cut is marked, the one thing missing that I'm gonna do tonight is to round up the edge of the outside edge, because when the door closes on the flange, that is gonna be the seal, it's much better if it's round, because if it's square, it's gonna just probably break the seal head eventually. It's gonna just crack the rubber. So I prefer to have a round edge. This is 12 millimeters thick, half-inch thick. I think I can get the router and just route a curve on each side and become like almost like a half circle or something close to that. That's the idea. Let's hope so. Fingers crossed. Let's try and see what happens. I think before I commit to the frame, it's a good idea to try and I scrap this. It makes sense, right? And that's pretty round. I think I'm going to start on the actual piece. Let's hope for the best. We should start on the bottom so no one sees, right? I think it will work, but it's gonna take a while. And I need to cover myself, otherwise I'm gonna be itch all night long with aluminum all over my body. But as you can tell, I can slowly get to this shape right here. It would be easier if I go a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and then I do the final pass on the right thickness. That's the right thing to do, I believe. That's so awesome. I love it, the result. So far, I did the outer edge, so the outside. The inside I can do once it's in place, because I have plenty of space to run the router. Inside is fine, and I think it's gonna be easier for Peter to work because he don't need to care about any marks on the inside, so it's much better. The outside would be really hard to do once the frame is in place, so good thing is done. I even round up the edges. The funny thing is, Peter said he didn't believe it would be really hard to actually get this done, but it happened. That's really cool. Time to go to rest. Whew, see you tomorrow. So now that the door frame is on the right position and is spot welded around on the inside of the frame, Peter is going to move to the outside and fully weld the outside. This one is for the water tightness. The frame is already strong, but there are gaps without weld, so he needs to fully weld on the outside. It's gonna take forever.
Long time.
Yeah, we're gonna take many hours to finish this.
Oh, for sure.
But at least
I thought it was easier actually.
I told you.
I don't know how the boatyards do.
They take hours. That's it. That's why a boat costs a lot, because there's a lot of labor involved, a lot of love and labor. Yeah. So the welding part, that's a good thing. We did it. We fixed this huge problem. I mean, of course, don't tell anyone. If you see from here, you can see the flange of the door
No, there is
a little
gonna
bit
be-
bigger.
The door is gonna be here. Nobody's gonna. Tell.
Exactly. Once the door is in place, I really doubt anyone other than you guys will tell that the bulkhead is a little bit tilted back on the top, but at least it's flat. At least the windows fit in place, and the windows can be sealed. That's the most important thing.
So the only weld we need for the deck saloon is the door.
The only weld necessary for the deck saloon is to build the. Literally, it's not even the door, because the door is not the deck saloon. It's like 4 little tabs that are going to be the hinge of the door.
And
in
that's
the deck
it?
saloon.
And the door
Oh.
can be like a wooden door. We don't need to do the.
No, we're gonna do the aluminum door. Yeah, don't listen to her. Yeah, no.
But I mean, if it's not ready to go, we can
she go where?
to go somewhere.
Okay, somewhere. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yes, we can do that. But no, we won't need to do that.
We have a day to put this boat in the water.
You're talking too much. It's not time yet. Yeah.
Not time to talk about that, but we had.
Be patient. So, next steps now, we need to grind everything, because we want to install the glazing, and in order to do that, I don't want to sand anymore and make aluminum dust all around. That's why we're already trying to do the finishing. As you can tell, here is really dirt. There's still a lot of grinding to do on this one. That one is a little bit closer to the final finishing. But we still a lot to grind. But of course, the main goal was that we wanted the welds to be done, so Peter can move on to other projects, that as he did already.
And also because we are in July already, and Peter is gonna be on vacation, so we have a lot to do while he is on his vacation.
The last thing today, before we go, because this is already a long episode, let's put one of the windows in place.
I'm
so we can
really
have a feeling.
curious about it.
Right back.
Ta-da! That's gonna be awesome, actually.
That's how it's gonna look like.
Not with this white paper. Or...
Oh, no. Without the cover, we are not going to take that before we actually do the install, so we need to take the plastic off. But we can try to simulate how it's going to be when we open. So this is a deck flush hatch that's made for decks, but we can use, we talked to Lumor, that's the fabricator, that's the Model 3G. We talked to them like, can we use on a vertical surface? And they said a lot of the catamarans we sell these windows for, they use on a vertical surface, so it's fine. And now from the inside, trouble. So that's how much this is going to open. Remember that this is not the final installation. We still need to do some work on what's going to work open like this much.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
That's really good. So really good ventilation all around. I think it's going to be just perfect.
And really good like connection from the inside to the outside. It's gonna be great.
Can you
actually.
sit there and see if you can see anything from the helm?
I can see everything.
Can you see that from the helm?
Yeah.
Or the top one is going to be on the way?
No, I can see everything.
That's awesome. Can't wait. The tricky
And the
part-
galley is gonna be really close.
And this is a really good ventilation for the galley. Let me know what you guys think. I think that's gonna look just awesome. Right now, of course, you cannot properly see because everything is not properly sanded. We have the plastic on the hatch, but once everything is as it should be in the final version, I think it's gonna be awesome. There's a lot of work involved.
I can't wait to have it done.
I cannot wait to be on the water. I don't really care about this. I just want to go to the water really soon. Really soon. Earlier than you believe. I'm gonna jump from this boat on the water. Trust me. But now I see you guys in the next one.
See you.
See you in the next one. See, I told you the end of the episode was gonna be happy. I don't know if I told you that, but I knew it was gonna be
I
happy.
think you said that.